We will now be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Tom Thompson, Jr., Iron County Forestry and Parks Committee Chair.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Good to finally be here after 5 years of rebuilding the harbor. Nice to see so many people show up. Good to finally be here after 5 years of rebuilding the harbor. Nice to see so many people show up for this whatever. No storms today, let's hope not anyway. Nice for you to all come here. And before I get too deep into this, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the one person that we lose in this occasion down here with Mitch Koski. So a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. I just want to thank all the full county board for all their support, all the Iron County residents for their support, because you know what's coming on your tax roll. It's going to be here for a long time. Let's hope you can all get a chance to enjoy it. And I don't know what else to say except let's get this over with before the weather turns bad on us, because it's been known to change in a hurry down here. But if there's anything else I'd like to say, is I guess we're going to do like Jiminy Cricket says. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's showtime.
My name is Eric Peterson. I'll be your Master of Ceremonies this afternoon. I'm the Iron County Forestry and Parks Administrator, and I've been involved in the Saxon Harbor facility recovery from day one. July 11th, 2016 seems like only yesterday, but in reality, later, to celebrate the reopening of a true gem, not only of Iron County, but of northern Wisconsin. July 2016 brought devastation, destruction, and heartbreak, but as we sit here today, we can see what is attainable when a large group comes together with a common goal. The people we will hear from today are just a fraction of the effort that was needed to bring us to where we are sit today. From Iron County Emergency Management, U.S. Coast Guard, Army Corps of Engineers, Saxon Harbor Boating Club, Coleman Engineering, Iron County Land and Water Conservation Department, the Federal Highway Administration, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and many, many others. Your efforts to reach today's ceremony are greatly appreciated by the Iron County Forestry Department and the public who uses this beautiful new facility. We are honored to Iron County through this. As you will see in the insert in your program, under costs and funding, you will notice that the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant. Governor Evers' support of this program, which is so important to county forests in northern Wisconsin, is appreciated, and hopefully the Knowles Nelson program will be able to be renewed and continue to support the county forest programs and projects like the Saxon Harbor.
Thanks for the, first of all, for the honoring. Thanks anyway. Good to be here. And as you all know, Saxon Harbor plays a huge role economically and recreationally in Wisconsin's Northwoods. Not only for the visitors who come here every year to enjoy the great outdoors, but the locals who live and work here also. It's also vital to our culture and who we are as Wisconsinites. Our Great Lakes have influenced our history in a big way, obviously impacting our economy, our culture, and will play a major role going forward. I'm proud of the work that we've done together in Saxon. The Wisconsin Coastal Management Program provided more than $36,000 worth of grants to help develop the redevelopment plan and study alternatives to protect the outfall of the Ronto and Parker creeks. And I want to thank the good folks at the DOA and the Wisconsin Coastal Management, all the folks that are here today. Now, I don't have to tell you about devastation and destruction that the 2016 floods brought, because you lived right through it. But if there's anything we know about Wisconsinites, it's that we are resilient folks. Come flu, flood, or even a virus, Wisconsinites know to take on the big fights together, look out for one another, and take care of one another. Now, northern Wisconsin and Lake Superior region has been hammered by 3 1-in-1,000-year rainfall events 2012, resulting in over $100 million worth of infrastructure. Homeowners and municipalities on the shorelines of our Great Lakes, establishing grants for communities to hire staff, develop their own risk assessment and resilience plans. And also proposed a $30 million grant program to help build resilient roads and infrastructure across the state, restoring our wetlands to prevent catastrophic flooding, and to create a first-of-a-kind program to help Wisconsinites purchase flood insurance. And folks, these investments would pay off, because for every $1 invested in preventing flooding, the state saves us families, our businesses, and to our homeowners. But this is a big job that not any one of us can do alone. In many cases, increasing the threat of flooding in our communities can be prevented with proactive efforts, smart investments, and strong partnerships at the local, state, and federal level. So I look forward to continuing to work together to strengthen our infrastructure, bolster that resiliency that's part of us as Wisconsinites, and like the folks here in Saxon have exemplified, building the sort of future we want for our state and our kids, making sure that we have a sustainable economy and conservation of and protection of our vast natural resources. So thanks so much for inviting me today. It's a great day to be here at Saxon, and really good work by everybody. I know it's taken a while, but you got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Evers. Our next speaker has been right here supporting Iron County since the first day. Senator Tammy Baldwin flew into the area the afternoon following the flood to see the damages firsthand. Unfortunately, due to distance from the airport, road washouts, and other complications, she was unable to get right here that day. But 2 years later, when the second federal disaster hit northern Wisconsin and Saxon Harbor, I had the opportunity to meet with the senator again. Amazingly, she pulled out her cell phone and showed me pictures she took back in July of 2016. Because she was unable to get here in person, she had the pilots fly her over the harbor so she could see the damage for herself. Please welcome Wisconsin U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I pulled out my phone to show those pictures. I'd come up with the adage in general, and we landed, as the governor just did, in Ashland, and we were meeting with local town leaders. Basically the day after, as everyone was sitting there thinking, what the heck are we going to do? We have stranded people. How do you assess the damage? How do you start tapping these emergency management programs were set up for this very, very real occurrence? But so far there's no one, and I was there in order to be an advocate for the victims of these, except for me from the federal government there, and I was there in order to be an advocate for the victims of these storms. But anyways, the adage in general was in the state plane, and I whispered to him, I didn't get to Saxon Harbor. And so he asked the pilot. I didn't feel like I had quite the clout to just tell a state pilot to fly. But anyways, so he did. And I have these amazing pictures right after the fact. So I want to say warm greetings, South Shore. It's really great to join you for this occasion. And it's really nice to be back in the Northwoods and to join all of you here today to celebrate working together and getting something done. When the big storm hit in July 2016, as you heard, I came right away to see the damage and meet with local leaders. And at the time, I made a commitment to just work together, to do whatever we could to rebuild from the damage and devastation. And so when I went back to Washington, I started getting to work on that. But it wasn't as straightforward as one might think. You know, particularly something that the governor just so aptly named, which is most federal programs say, well, you can't make these big improvements to become more resilient or stronger. You can only use federal tax dollars to build it back to exactly the way it was. Well, good thing we fought. Good thing we fought, Eric, together, because a big event in in 2018.
Telling me that they had gotten us $1 million in the 2018-19 Wisconsin budget. That money was issued to Iron County as a Knowles Nelson stewardship grant. Tom has, of course, moved on to a new role as U.S. Representative of Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District. Please welcome Representative Tom Tiffany.
Thanks so much, Eric. Welcome to Northern Wisconsin. Welcome to the 7th Congressional District. Yeah, it's great to have here, and it's a great honor to be able to represent Northern Wisconsin. Many of you know that I'm just a little over a year now into my tenure serving you in the 7th Congressional District. And I think the statement that Senator Baldwin shared there in regards, not everything's straightforward in Washington, D.C. Yeah, she's right. She's right. I've gotten a crash course on that here in the first year, so there's no doubt about it. But it's what a great asset to Northern Wisconsin. This has been for a very long time, and hopefully will continue to be for a very long time. And the investment that's been made there and all the help that has been put together to make that happen is just terrific. So really pleased to see this come about. Eric commented about when I was in the legislature and sitting on the Joint Finance Committee, and when I heard from the people from Iron County that it was a real challenge to put together that. I mean, if you look in your brochure, you see these various line items. First of all, I hope you look at all the contractors. These are terrific contractors that did great work here. Thank you to all of you who put in so much effort and made this happen. And but you look at those reimbursements there, and you go down to that line, the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund. That's what I got to think when Iron County approached me, and they said, you know, this is going to be a real challenge for us to be able to put in our part of this. As you can see, they put some money into it and other assets, but they needed another $1 million. And I just thought that this is so important. I mean, I think about friends and neighbors. So I live down in Minocqua. I have friends and neighbors that are down in the Tomahawk area, places like that. They come up here and fish all the time. This is a great asset, not just for Iron County and not just for the South Shore, but for all of Wisconsin, but especially those of us that are up here in the northern half of Wisconsin. People are using this frequently. And so I thought it was such an important asset that I thought that we had to find a way to get this done. And as we're in the budget process, we have some dollars available in the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund. And I'm actually of a mind that sometimes it is not used properly when we just take land and we buy it and we lock it up and leave it there for preservation purposes. I don't think that that's always the best use of it. But something like this, I think, is a great use of the stewardship funding, which all of you are paying for. And thank you for doing that. But this is a great asset that a lot of people here in Wisconsin and throughout the Midwest are able to use as a result of what has been here for a long time, and now the reinvestment that's happened to fix this and make it even better than what it was before. So I just want to say congratulations to Iron County. And I wanted to say to all of you in Iron County that have put so much work into this. I know how much angst there was at times in trying to figure out how you were going to put the pieces together. Good work to Senator Baldwin that you invested the time here in understanding how important this is. And thank you very much, Governor Evers, for joining us today for this. We're very appreciative that you would come up here and recognize what a great asset we have here and what a terrific day this is. And I hope you'll all come up here and go fishing sometime out of Saxon Harbor. Thank you very much for having me here, and congratulations, Senator.
Thank you, Representative Tiffany. Senator Janet Bewley represents Iron County as part of the 25th Senate District here in northern Wisconsin. I've had the pleasure to meet with Senator Bewley on numerous occasions to give her updates on our progress and ask for her support of our programs and grant funding requests, and to show her around the Saxon Harbor facility during the reconstruction process. Her support has been nothing short of amazing, and we definitely appreciate her efforts on our behalf during this project. Please welcome Senator Janet Bewley.
It's a bit of an obstacle course to get here, but it's fun. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today and celebrating something that started with kind of a sense of despair. Many of us came, but I'm looking out and I'm seeing faces of people that I just adore, it's just like we're all coming together. Did we ever imagine? When I saw the devastation, I just, where in me, I saw what was in you. If you could believe we could do it, I can believe. And there wasn't a person here that didn't believe. And when you think about it, there were people that came up and stepped up to the plate. Mitch lost his life in that instantaneous. And as the governor would say, damn it, you did it. You did it. And we're going to be thanking many, many people that came in representing a branch of the government or something. And by God, we have to thank them for sure. But there are so many people in this room or under this canopy, outside the canopy, that won't because so much of the work that was done when no one was looking. First of all, did anybody really think that this marina would be managed by the supervisor from the forestry department? Forestry? Of course, Eric is. That department and the great people on forestry stepped right up. And then the firms that were hired, Macy, they live here. They work at this is their home. It's your home. And person after person whose name isn't going to be carved on a rock they knew this was going to happen. And it was a part of the way that they live that meant that it was rebuilt. And without that is the foundation upon which all of you were wonderful, great people, elected, thank you. But you did it. You did it. We put our efforts on top of it, but we put our efforts on top of you. You people, those of you with hard hats, anybody who worked at the tavern, that Grace is a stinker, I saw her a little while ago and I was just chatting with her. She didn't tell me she was a keynote speaker. That's the humility. That's the quiet service. Price County. Why is Price County here? Because they care. I like Price, nothing against Price County, but but you're here in this northeasternmost part of the state that most of the people anywhere to the southeast wouldn't have heard of. We don't care. We're going to get it done. You are going to get it done, and you did. And you did. Congratulations to each and you, to the people who aren't here that deserve thanks. You did it. You did it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Our next speaker is Representative Beth Myers. Representative Myers, like Senator Bewley, has been very supportive of Saxon Harbor and the reconstruction process. Representative Myers and her husband are sailors as well, and she understands the importance of a marina facility like Saxon Harbor and its importance to the local residents and our economy. Please welcome Wisconsin's 74th Assembly District Representative, Beth Myers.
Well, here's the short person. I am actually on my tippy toes, just so you can see me and I can see over the microphones. I'm honored to be here today to speak at this dedication and reopening of Saxon Harbor. It's been a long time coming and I'm elated. After some delays, it's finally here. I want to thank everyone who tirelessly pursued federal, state, and local funding to repair this essential harbor. As Eric mentioned, my husband and I are sailors. We sailed over from Bayfield yesterday on our sailboat. And coming into this harbor, I had tears in my eyes because as a sailor, you want to know there's a safe port of call. And anyone that's standing here knows that lake out there. You know, it could be a sunny day in Bayfield when you leave, and the next thing you know, you're in Whitecaps. Unfortunately, I've had experience, but I still get back on the sailboat. So this harbor means a lot to me as a sailor, and I know there's a lot of fishermen here too, that this is a wonderful place for them to do their charters out of. We all know that it happened in July of 2016. 85 boats were destroyed and 30 campsites. Most tragic, of course, was the death of beloved community member Mitch, whose name has been mentioned several times. Heavy rains and a wall of water and mud from the creek, which washed out roads, bridges, making search and rescue missions extremely difficult for all the first responders. And I would guess 98% of them are volunteers and left their loved ones to go searching and to help all of us. And I see some of you back there nodding your head. Yes, you are volunteers. Thank you. Thank you. Due to the flooding, residents lost wells, the town of Gurney was landlocked, and several people were stranded. It was a devastating event for the community. One rescue mission had been successfully conducted and the flood subsided. The brave people of Iron County were left to pick up the pieces. I attended the funeral of Mitch. The center was packed and it was an emotional event I will never forget. It really showed me the true colors of the people of Iron County. At that time, the harbor was still in disrepair and the tragedy was still ongoing. But there was a sense of resolve in the faces of the people of the community. Once the people of Iron County had time to grieve, they got to work, and they worked hard. Government agencies from county to federal level mobilized resources to rebuild Saxon Harbor. Iron County, FEMA, Wisconsin Emergency Management, State Department of Transportation and Natural Resources, the federal, dividing tasks to efficiently and effectively build back better. Now, 4 years later and over $14 million in investment, here we are today, the grand reopening of Saxon Harbor. But we are here because of more than time and money. We are here because of more and triumph. We are here because of the people of Iron County. This county has proved once again that the only catalyst for change has always been groups of people coming together to make it happen. I have been amazed as Saxon Harbor was mended with each campsite and marina slip. Senator Bewley and I took multiple tours of the harbor with Eric as it was under construction. that time and time again that only others can hope to achieve. While misfortune arose, it was the grit of the community that drove reconstruction and the love for their home that brought them together. Let this harbor stand as a monument to Iron County, and let it symbolize the shared values that make us great: kindness, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to one another. It has been my honor to share in this event with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Myers. As I mentioned earlier, Iron County has been supported by the state of Wisconsin since the beginning of resources. The Department of Administration has been one of those important partners. And today we are glad to have Department of Administration
try to connect the dots. And so within 24 hours of what happened here 5 Julys ago, you had engineers in the Department of Transportation on site, so examining roads, Highway 2, and there, making sure that we could do things and see what was going on the ground. Within days you had, all of that took place, but all of it took place only in partnership and cooperation with people here on the ground in Iron County and your local leadership. As time went on at the Department of Administration, we were really honored to be able to work with our Wisconsin Coastal Management Program to do some of the here and a little bit of the execution to ensure that what happened here can never happen again, and that what we can do here to invest here is something that can make sure that you are doing it for the future and building back better, as Senator Baldwin said earlier. Just a little bit about that coastal management program. It's a program that we really spend very little state money on over the course of time. It's been in existence for about 45 years, but it's a program that is focused only on those 15 counties around the state that hug Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. And in every dollar that's spent is about how do we do things that are about the economic sustainability, the viability of those areas along Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. How do we have the kind of investments that are going to pay off for generations? And this is just that kind of a project here, and this is just that kind of an awakening and an innovation here in Iron County that's going to have that for time to come. And so I'm really proud to stand here on behalf of the other agencies within state government. I hope that what we have done here in Iron County is something that at the state level, at the federal level, at the local level, is to provide that support, to provide those resources. I hope it's been enough. I hope it's been sincere. I hope that we can do more in the future. But just as other speakers have said, this is really about a celebration and the resilience of the people who are in this, who are here with us today, and the people in this community. Because what you have done, the result is spectacular. It was born of necessity and born of tragedy, but really it's going to pay off dividends for many, many years to come. So really thrilled to be here, really thrilled to celebrate with you, and honored to work alongside our local partners. So thanks very much for having me here today.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. All state cabinet departments are important to the functioning of state government. But when you're the Forestry Department of Wisconsin's 4th largest county forest, you work almost daily with the Department of Natural Resources. The Saxon Harbor project brought so many levels of assistance, expertise, grant funding, and support from the DNR to us here in Iron County. I have come to know many of the DNR staff personally through this project and appreciate the passion that they all have for their jobs. John G. was the DNR Secretary Director for many years and was right here after the flood to offer the DNR support in any way they could, but planned to join virtually from his home in Colorado. Thank you, John, for your work, and congratulations on your retirement. With John G's retirement, James Yatch stepped into the position of Secretary's Director of Wisconsin's Northern Region. The great thing for all of us, I updated James fairly regularly through the construction process, and he helped get the wheels of government turning a few times for us when needed. Please welcome James Yatch, DNR Secretary's Northern Region Director.
Thank you, Eric, for those kind words. And I will say my first time on Saxon Harbor was in July of 2017. That was shortly after right before John G. retired, and took a tour of the facility. And I will say it was a pretty big mess of rocks and sticks and mud that was pretty much everywhere. And the thing that Eric had told me as we were leaving that day that really stuck with me, he says, come heck or high water, in 2 years, I'm opening this facility. And by golly, he did. And unfortunately, we couldn't commemorate it when that actually happened. But that really stuck with me. And the condition of the facility today is tremendous. I believe it is drastically improved from where it was before. And that comes through a lot of hard work. And that hard work didn't come from necessarily just the department per se. It came from the collaboration that we've had with the county throughout this whole process. As you can imagine, in a project that's this large, some of those conversations that Eric alluded to weren't always the most pleasant conversations, but there had to be had, and so when you bring together this project of this magnitude, you're engaging staff in the department of over 10 different programs. And a number of those folks are here today. I'm not going to embarrass them to have them stand up, but they are in the audience, put in tremendous amounts of work, working hand in hand, stride in stride with Iron County, with Eric, and with the contract project complete. One of the other phone calls that really, and now I know why that you weren't as surprised as I thought, is when I called Eric one day and informed him that there was $1 million that was going to be awarded to him through this Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant, and now I realize Tom beat me to the punch. But that is fine. But that's it. So the DNR helps administrate that grant program along with a number of others. So in total, the DNR DNR helped administer grants for over $2 million for this project, and that's through the Knowles Nelson Stewardship, the Recreational Boating Grant Program, and the Boating Infrastructure Grant Program. The reason why these are so important is because a bulk of the money came from the federal disaster relief, but there's a bunch of stuff that falls through the cracks. We need to put the mortar that brings it all together, and that's where these grants come into play. Over $250,000 went in there to help build and improve and create that campground that's just absolutely stupendous behind us. So I will say that I'm very happy and proud to be here today. I really want to thank you for recognizing the efforts of the department in this, and we wouldn't have it any other way but to be there lockstep with you. So I want to just thank you for the opportunity, and congratulations, Iron County.
Thank you, James. The Wisconsin Coastal Management Program is dedicated to preserving and improving access to natural and historic resources of Wisconsin's Great Lakes coast. In the infancy of the recovery effort, Coastal Management awarded Iron County a grant to allow for a public opinion survey to be conducted and developed by Northwest Regional Planning. Please welcome Mike Freed.
I've been with the Coastal Management Program for some time. I could say I cut my teeth on public access. For me, providing sustainable, safe public access is the key for giving people an opportunity to enjoy the resource, develop their own stewardship ethic, and then appreciate it so it continues. Saxon Harbor has always been kind of special to me, so I felt it when this happened. I just want to say, to do big things, you need to have a lot of people working together, and it was just a pleasure to work with everybody. And I'm glad Eric mentioned Northwest Regional Planning. Sheldon Johnson, the executive director, I know is here somewhere. Working with them was great. I also want to say that I have a great advisor in the Governor's Coastal Management Council, Michael Childers, and I so appreciate the advice that they give me, as well as my administrator who also sits on the council, Don Vick. So, and congratulations, everybody, and I'm really looking forward to coming back.
Thank you, Mike. When I was hired for the position of Forest Administrator in January of 2015, we discussed county forest management, forestry, recreational trail systems, the typical things that an administrator interview would entail. By the way, Iron County Forestry and Parks also manages a marina on Lake Superior. It takes care of itself. On July 11, 2016, my job description expanded just a little. I became a FEMA disaster recovery specialist, a marina and campground reconstruction coordinator, and a project manager. I needed help along with their team of Smith Group and UP Engineering Architects who were hired to develop the new reconstruction projects and to assist us with navigation. Many of you who are with us today, you see here.
Thank you. First, I'll keep this brief. I want to thank Eric and Iron County for trusting this to us and to our team. It's a great win for everyone, but as engineers, these are the things that we live for, are these types of seeing it done and seeing it completed. I also want to recognize especially Eric and Tara. Part of my job is finding money for port and harbor projects throughout the United States. I have never worked with a client that was so adept at finding money as Eric and Tara. Again, it was a real treat to work with me. Usually that's my job, and you made my job so easy. So I also want to recognize our team. Our project manager, Mike Raymond, Brian Stano, and Scott Jensen, who were the people that had the boots on the ground that made all of this work. And then our partners at Smith Group, as well as UP Engineering. Together, it was a collaborative effort that made all of this work. Phoenix rising from the ashes. So thank all of you, and thank Iron County for trusting us to build this. Thank you.
Continue the improvements of our facility. During this process, she spoke with Michelle from the Washburn Marina, and the introduction to Teresa Qualls and the Wisconsin Clean Marina program was made. Teresa is here with us today on behalf of Wisconsin Clean Marinas. Please welcome Teresa Qualls.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here to present Saxon Harbor with their Clean Marina certification. The Clean Marina program was started in 2010, and currently we have 22 certified clean marinas in the state. The Clean Marina program promotes clean and safe waterways in Wisconsin. The marina industry really knows the importance of clean water to boaters and Wisconsin's coastal communities. So congratulations to Saxon Harbor for taking the steps to become a certified clean marina. During their rebuild process, they were committed to this program and incorporated our clean marina best management practices into their facility. From improved stormwater practices to signage for boaters to clean fueling procedures, Saxon Harbor and Iron County should be commended for their hard work and dedication to improve water quality and resiliency on Lake Superior for the boaters to enjoy. So we are proud to have Saxon Harbor as part of our program. So congratulations again. I would now like to present the certificate to Eric, and Tara. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. We greatly appreciate it. As many of you who work with us on a regular basis know, Tara and I tend to argue bad ideas back and forth often. We're trying to balance costs while providing a facility that the residents of Iron County and everyone can be proud of. When it came time to make the decision on who we would ask to be today's keynote speaker, there was no argument. We had to look no further than straight across the marina from here to Harbor Lights and Grace Hines. Grace and her husband Bill have been staples of Saxon Harbor and the Saxon Harbor Boating Club for decades. Grace and Bill had front row seats to the devastating evening of July 11, 2016, and have had those same great seats throughout the reconstruction. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Ms. Grace Hines.
No pressure here. You didn't tell me it was keynote when you'd asked me the first time. Not that I would have known what that was going to entail. Thank you for coming, sir.
great to see all you folks again too, and for all your assist and everything. But first of all, to Tara and Eric, we personally, on the regular folks, want to thank you too for the hours and the days and the months that you spent and the bales of paperwork I'm sure you're still dealing with. Just an absolutely wonderful job. And before we get into anything else, I want to say for the first really big event that was held at Saxon Harbor last weekend, the boating club had their fishing contest. It was an immense success. Everybody absolutely loved the place. The club did a wonderful job. When they left here, it was, see you next year for the same thing. And I'm sure they'll all be back. In an attempt to be transparent, I always wanted to use that word. It seems like. I would like you to know where my historical comments are going to come from. Marvin Innes, Ernest Balkema, Wilbert Smith, Stanley Ullman, Harry Gilbertson, and Charles Sonny Lamoureux. Also rooted on resources by Kathy Techman. Now, with the exception of Ms. Tackman, these other sources have passed on. So all of you fact checkers and Googlers may have a problem. On the shores of Gitche-Gumee, by the shining deep sea water. Now we all know this is the first two lines of the Longfellow poem, Song of Hiawatha. And as the Ojibwe reference to the Lake Superior that we all love. The poem was published in 1850, and it's hard to believe that our little shore of Gitche-Gumee, that 3-mile stretch from the Montreal River to Marble Point, had already played a huge part in the settling and exploration around us. Already in the 1600s, the voyagers and the fur traders used the Oronto Bay as a trading post that was here to get materials and supplies where they needed to be. Goods had arrived here in large canoes from the trading post on Madeline Island, and then trekked and portaged from the Lake Superior watershed to the Mississippi watershed using the Flambeau Trail. Dirt roads, horses and buggies, and finally the railroad simplified the delivery. There were always fishermen using the somewhat weather-protected area for landing or storing some of the boats that early on were supplying the region with local fish. But their delivery in the 20s and 30s was a challenge. Logging and fur trading and fishing had become the main use of this area, with the Oronto used to dam up and float logs down to the lake, where they were boomed and taken west for processing. Now, many times those dams didn't work, and the material was left in what this was at the time, a bay, would eventually become fill. The area became a delta, and when all the logging was done in 1914, it was left to fill in with dirts and creeks runoff, and according to my source, it even grew grass. So it's hard to believe that this entire area was still had the Oronto filtering through it, but all of this was filled. I think Ross Peterson's the one that could probably tell you that was the truth, because he dug up some pretty interesting stuff when he was making the second basin. In 1922, Iron County designated the area a county park. 1922. Can we say another party? But it took until 1925 that they experimented with a breakwall at the harbor. The county built a 300-foot long pier to keep the Oronto Creek from blocking up the mouth. It had timber cribs filled with beach rock. And my source says it didn't make it past the first violent storm. It cost $2,000. On to the 30s and the 40s, the lamprey had killed the lake trout in Lake Michigan, and thus Lake Superior fish were more profitable. In 37 and 38, Lake Superior trolling started and another harbor project began. This time it was a WPA project that worked with the county. Again, it was designed to contain the Oronto flow as well as protection from the lake. The WPA ended, the county took up to finish it. Alas, again, the Oronto won and their efforts went out in a rainstorm, meaning wooden rocks weren't going to solve our problem. The 50s brought the Corps of Engineers in studying the possibility of safe harbors every 25 miles on the Great Lakes due to the increased traffic by boaters of all sizes. I should have said boats of all sizes, shouldn't I? I mean, boaters. A source tells us that 10 years of studying and paperwork, Saxon Harbor finally got a real breakwall for protection from winds and waves. So in 1968, the Corps built the breakwall that you see now and dug and banked the north basin, but piers and everything else was left to the county. With help from the state of Wisconsin, 12 docks were installed on the south side, and in the mid-70s, they finished putting docks on the north side. At that point, Saxon Harbor was off and running by filling every dock annually and maintaining a waiting list for the next 25 years. Boats were and still are from about a 100-mile radius. In November of 75, the northwest storm of the century sunk the Edmund Fitzgerald and took 15 feet of shoreline in 3 days. The Saxon Harbor Boating Club was formed about that time to work in numbers toward assisting the county and to be able to represent boaters and fishermen in issues with the DNR and any political issues that pertain to the lake. Their influence in fish planning, working alongside Iron County and continuously raising funds to assist in any way in the local community still stands today deeply. The 80s brought extremely high lake levels and heightened erosion problems. It also brought on a friendly relationship with the Black River Harbor, Michigan boaters. While we were working together, the relationship was also competitive. They called Saxon Harbor the mosquito fleet because their boats were bigger and caught more and bigger fish. Well, Saxon didn't take that laying down. They answered back, well, your fish are definitely bigger because they're fats. We can eat ours. The two harbors worked together and it did remain friendly, mostly. Together they had members that trained and qualified to form the Saxon Harbor, Black River Harbor Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla, adding a huge safety factor to this portion of the lake. They operated under the direction of the Bayfield Coast Guard. And today, the courtesy vessel check is still available at Saxon Harbor. The 90s brought us a new and improved Highway A with the severe hill change to a more gradual and manageable climb. This played a big part in the construction to come as the access was safer and could handle more traffic. It also brought studies of the expansion by the Northwest Regional Planning Commission and an engineering company. And while funding was not in sight yet, those studies were made and increased prices on concrete and steel at the time. It all worked well, and what a beautiful facility it was. And I guess that brings us to why we're here today. The telling of the 2016 flood has been heard by all of you. And most of you here for lightning like that. Not before, and certainly not since. We all have, there's probably more now than we did before. The morning light brought a vision I don't think anyone was ready